This is Rick Rule for Rural Investment Media and the Rural Classroom, sponsors of the 2025 Rural Natural Resources Investment Symposium, live in Boca Raton or via live stream wherever you are. However you choose to attend, a couple things you need to know. The first is that we will be presenting more useful information over 4 days than you can absorb. To that end, the entire proceedings will be recorded, and you will have access to the recordings, whether or not you attend live or via live stream, for a full year, and you're going to need it. The second thing is that before the conference, we interview every single exhibitor and every single speaker at the conference. This allows you to be familiar with all of the conference subjects before the conference occurs. And it also allows you to utilize your time and your capital at the conference much more efficiently. Finally, you need to know that every single public company exhibitor at the conference is owned in the accounts of the conference sponsors. If we don't own the shares, the exhibitor is not allowed on the floor. We refuse more exhibitors than we admit. So let's begin the process. Today, I have the very good fortune of interviewing a young man who, paradoxically, I've known for a very long time. Amir, thank you, first of all, for almost 3 decades of toil on behalf of natural resource investors, myself in particular. Thank you, too, for many years of support of our symposium. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Rick, the pleasure is all mine. And we are approaching 3 decades, so time flies by when you're persevering in the natural resource sectors.
Let's back up, Amir. Tell us how, despite your relative youth, you have come to do what you do. What have you done in the past for natural resource investors that we should know about?
Well, Rick, when you think about it, and you would know very well, I started early in my career. I was in my 20s when I took Uranium Energy Corp public on the NYSE Amex. Back then it was called American Stock Exchange. Our pre-IPO investors who had come in at 50 cents a share were immediately rewarded with a stock that opened up above $2 a share, and it traded even higher than that until Fukushima happened. And post-Fukushima, we have been relentlessly focused on growing the company through bear market acquisitions. And today we've seen the company's value really increase fourfold as a result of $1 billion worth of bear market acquisitions at the bottom of the cycle for uranium. And now we have a bull market in uranium shaping that I don't think you and I even would have seen in our best case scenarios 20 years ago. And 20 years is the name of the game. I've been at this now with UEC for over 20 years. And in those 20 years, we have done everything from making acquisitions to producing uranium and positioning ourselves really as the biggest, largest, and fastest growing U.S. uranium company.
Let's talk about a bit about that. You have at least 2 entrants in the uranium business, UEC and Uranium Royalty. So tell us what's unique about both of those. There's lots of pretenders and a fair number of decent companies in the uranium space. Why Uranium Royalty? Why UEC?
In the case of UEC, I believe there are many PowerPoint companies in the uranium sector and many companies that just spell out some financial projection on there. UEC is actually in production. UEC has licensed mines and projects in the US with infrastructure ready to go. And UEC has done something that, for those people that care to know, and I think this is important to note, is in all the decades of US uranium mining, no company has assembled as many resources as UEC has in the ground with above ground infrastructure in the US at a time where we have, I would argue, not just the uranium bull market developing, but we have a US uranium bull market developing. And UEC has amassed over 500 million pounds of resources in the ground, along with 3 processing plants. So while there are a lot of PowerPoint uranium companies out there, UEC is actually producing with licensed facilities. And that's attracting institutional investors. That's attracting sovereign wealth funds who have become shareholders of the company. In the case of URC, Uranium Royalty Corp, very simple. If you like the royalty model and you like the bull market developing in uranium, this is the only way to play it. We have a first mover advantage with Uranium Royalty. We are the one and only uranium focused royalty company on the planet. And that really is a unique competitive advantage. The company has already amassed a very interesting portfolio of royalties, including royalties on Cameco, Cigar Lake, and McArthur River mines. And the company combines royalties with a big physical uranium position. So almost as of today, 80% of the company's market cap is backed by physical uranium, and the royalties are driving the growth on top.
Let's move on briefly to the gold business. You have two primary entries in the gold business, Gold Mining Inc., where I'm delighted to say I was a seed shareholder, and Gold Royalty, which, if my memory serves me well, you spun out of Gold Mining Inc. Could you tell us about those as distinct investment vehicles for people who care about the gold bull market?
I sat there for a long time listening to what you had to teach and explain about the money you made in Lumina, where at the bottom of the copper cycle, you and Ross Beatty, when an accumulated pounds in the ground of copper that no one wanted, someone else's garbage was basically yours to have at pennies on the dollar. And then when the copper market returned and recovered what was seen to be garbage, all of a sudden became highly valuable. That's exactly what we've done with gold mining. When the gold price was $1,000 an ounce, $1,200 an ounce, we were aggressively acquiring ounces in the ground, resources in the ground. And today, the company with record gold prices is slowly starting to divest and spin out and unlock value for this vast over 20 million ounce of gold resources that is accumulated. Gold Royalty is a great example of that. We simply underwrote a royalty on everything that we had acquired. And today, that's a 200 million market cap company. And our equity stake in it is worth almost $40 million, literally value that was created from having just acquired the assets that we had acquired. Whistler is a great example, Rick. We acquired the Whistler gold deposit for $1.5 million. Today, that's a publicly listed company called U.S. Gold Mining, ticker USGO. Gold Mining's equity stake is worth almost $100 million. We bought it at a $1.5 million, and now our equity stake is worth almost $100 million. So as the gold market continues to move, gold mining is sitting on over 20 million ounces of gold resources, and it's going to continue to transact because projects that maybe were sub-economic at $1,000 an ounce are very economic at over $3,000 an ounce.
Spoiler alert, next year's 2026 Natural Resources Investment Symposium will have a new theme. You know, Amir, that for many years we have had something called the Living Legends, where people who have built multi-billion-dollar companies from scratch are invited to tell our people how they did it and what they learned. Next year, we're going to have the new legends. And we hope to include a young man named Amir Adnani. So mark off your own calendar for the 2026 Natural Resources Investment Symposium. But let's get back to business. To the extent that our attendees want to learn more about your uranium investments and your gold investments, how do they do that? Who in particular do they talk to, and how do they reach that person?
First of all, greatly honored by the spoiler alert. Second of all, one of the signature aspects of my work in this industry has been my accessibility. Whether you're a sovereign wealth fund or an individual investor, you know you can get a hold of me, and our shareholders over the years have really developed a liking towards that. So first and foremost, I would say, if you have a question about Uranium Energy Corp, Uranium Royalty Corp, or gold mining, reach out to me directly. My email address is aa@uraniumenergy.com. Those are my initials, Amir Adnani, aa@uraniumenergy.com. Additionally, Bruce Nicholson, who's our corporate development and head of investor relations, you can reach out to him. Bruce Nicholson, his email is B for Bruce Nicholson, bnicholson@uraniumenergy.com. So those are 2 points of contact. Bruce has been with me with these various companies for over a decade. I've been at it for a long time. And the hallmark of how we do business is we're accessible. That's why we are very honored and pleased to continue our engagement with Rick, your symposium now and for years to come. And really invite people to reach out. Don't be shy. There's really there's no stupid question. There's no bad question. There's no good question. We'd love to have conversations. And that's, I think, the best way of really engaging and taking back more information for your investment making process.
Amir, that's the right answer. Call the boss. Talk to the top. Thank you, Amir, for 3 decades of friendship and 3 decades of success. Thank you in particular for your ongoing support of the Natural Resource Investment Symposium series. We look forward to hosting you in Boca.
My pleasure, Rick. We look forward to it.